Hey guys, just want to welcome you all to T-Way Eats Barbecue Treats. It's a Sunday afternoon, and I decided today that we are going to do a review, a 1-year review. It's actually a little bit over a year, but a 1-year review on my Pit Boss, my pellet smoker. This was something that I had talked about, if you've seen any of my other videos, that I had kind of heavily talked about that I was going to do. If you've watched any of my other videos, I primarily cook on a Kamado Joe. I love my Kamado Joe. It is definitely my favorite cooker right now. But the pellet grill was my first. Last year, about 13-14 months ago, I bought this Pit Boss. This is how I got it started smoking. I got interested in it. Had a couple guys I worked with. They were always talking about it. They were bringing stuff in, and I always grilled, but I was never a smoker. So I kind of got interested in it, and I started doing research on my own. I started just looking up YouTube videos about just general smokers, and after I had done a little research, if you do any kind of research on YouTube, one video leads to another video, leads to another video, and somehow I got on a pellet smoker video, and I was like, huh, that's kind of cool. I didn't know a lot about them, so I started doing research. I researched everything from the Pit Boss to the Camp Chef to the Gorilla Grills. There was just a whole slew, Traegers, a whole slew of pellet smokers that I was looking at. And I finally decided on this Pit Boss. And we're going to go over it, and I'm going to show you guys that in a minute. But I kind of just wanted to give y'all a backstory of how I got to where I got. I'm a vet, so Lowe's had this Pit Boss. And they had it at a good price. Another guy on one of his videos I was watching, he had said, yeah, it's a good price, it's a good product. You guys ought to check this out if you're looking for something at a great value. And that's what I was. I have a family. I can't spend tons of money on smokers, so I'm always looking for the value. And the Pit Boss had a good value. I got my military or my veteran discount, and I think I ended up getting the smoker. It's the biggest one they have, or it's the biggest one they had at that time last year, which was 2019 is when I bought it. But it was the biggest one they had, and I'm a kind of go big or go home. If you're gonna do it, and I wanted to have enough room and not get something smaller that I wish I wasn't going to have room later on and say, man, I wish I would have got the bigger one. So I talked to my wife about it. And she's like, go for it. Get the biggest one, the size you want, or you're not going to be happy, or you're going to regret it. So I ended up going with the Pit Boss Pro Series 1100. I'll give you guys some more specs on that later. But it's the biggest one they had at the time. And I think I paid... They're normally, I think it was like $5.99, but they were on sale for $4.99. So I got this Pit Boss for about $500. And then I actually got it a little cheaper than that because I got my military on top of that. So probably about right under $500 is what I got this Pit Boss for. So I started smoking on it. I watched some videos. First day I got it, I did a pork butt and I did a brisket. Didn't do videos on it because I wasn't doing YouTube at that time. But I got photos and stuff, and if you guys are interested in those photos, I also have a Facebook page that I put all this stuff on, and those photos are on my Facebook page at T-Way Eats Barbecue Treats. If you look it up on Facebook, I have a whole Facebook devoted to photos of everything that I do, all my cooks and everything. So if you guys are interested and you want to see some of those videos from that, head on over there. I'm not going to give you like my total review yet. I'm going to walk you guys through. And at the end of this video, I'll kind of give you guys a conclusion on how I still feel a year later. But I just wanted to give you guys a backstory. I'm not trying to ramble here. I know when you're watching YouTube videos, you kind of just want them to get to the point. So we're going to roll into the point. But this was my first smoker before I got my ceramic smoker. And, and I'll kind of just walk y'all through it and then tell y'all how I really still feel about it today. So, guys, I hope you hang in there. I hope you enjoy this video. It's a beautiful day here in South Mississippi. And I hope y'all sit back and enjoy it. And if you're considering a pellet smoker, I hope this maybe helps you out. Maybe it'll help you out, maybe it won't. Maybe it'll point you in another direction on another pellet smoker that you're really interested in, seeing as this may not be the one for you. So hope you guys hang around. I'll be back in just a few minutes, and we'll start going through the parts of this pit boss. I'll try to give you guys some specs on it, and we'll kind of talk about it. All right, guys, I'll see y'all in a minute. All right, guys, so this is the outside of it. I'm going to drag it out here in a few minutes. I just kind of wanted to show you guys what the outside looks like. Now, I bought this cover, I bought a little bit later, probably 7 or 8 months later. And reason being is at my old house, I had a covered porch. So I didn't really feel like I needed the cover at the time. Well, we sold our house last year and we moved to this new house. And I have like no coverage here, which really stinks that I don't have any coverage, but that's what kind of forced me into going ahead and buying this, because this cover was like $60, I think. But if you don't have coverage, and even if you do have coverage, a lot of guys will still say you should cover it. And the main reason being, you have over here, this is your hopper, which is, it's got electronics in it. And a lot of guys say, you know, even if you have a covered porch, you really should cover it. But I went ahead and bought it because I had no coverage. I was being cheap. I didn't want to buy this $70 cover or whatever, $60 cover. And so I was being cheap. But I finally got here, and I was here for a little bit, and then realized, you know what? I need this cover. So went ahead and bought it, and I love that I got it. It protects it real good from the elements. I plan on getting some coverage later, but even if I do have coverage, I'm still going to stick with this cover. But I would say this is probably something you definitely need. Something you definitely need if you want to protect your investment. And I'm all about protecting my investment. I should have done it earlier, and that was my mistake. But we got it fixed now, and we got a cover on it, and you know, I feel good that we got that. But just wanted to kind of show you guys the outside of it, what the cover looks like. It's a really nice cover. We'll see how it holds up. I'll probably come back maybe later, maybe next year, and just kind of give an update on how that cover's holding up. But it's holding up pretty good so far, and I've had it for maybe 6 months now. But all right, guys, we'll get this cover off, and then we'll show you what the inside looks like. All right, guys, so here's the outside of the pit boss uncovered. I'll kind of give you guys a good visual of everything here. This is the top right here, obviously, but you know, this is where all the magic happens. I'll kind of give you guys a quick look on the inside, and then we're going to break each one of these pieces out, and I'm going to show you guys. But this is your top rack here, and this thing is awesome. I do chicken, I do buns on it sometimes if I'm doing simple like burgers and stuff, and if I'm doing, you know, like hot dogs or something, I'll put my hot dog buns up here. Sometimes if I'm doing a lot of chicken, I'll put my chicken up here. If it's getting more done down here, like this is the hottest part of the grill, the hottest zone, and that is because your flame comes up right here, which makes sense as to why this is the hottest zone. Your left and your right zones are your cooler zones, and sometimes if I have a lot of chicken down here and it's cooking fairly quickly and I still want it to go longer and I want it to smoke a little bit longer, I'll just take it from here and I'll put it up here while my zone over here and my zone over here are still cooking, because those are the slower cooking zones. So but this is definitely the hottest part of the grill. Stuff cooks very quickly there, and I don't always put stuff there. If I want it to go with slow smoke, I definitely only use this zone and this zone, and I'll use this top rack. But these grates are they're a ceramic type grate. I don't love the grate. They're not bad, but we'll pull them out and I'll show you here in a minute why. I just don't love them, but I don't hate them. So I just want to make that clear, I don't hate them. What I did out here too is I went and bought me this gasket that's going around the outside of my grill right here. This is an Oklahoma Joe gasket. I was having some smoke leaks on this thing when I first got it, and nothing major, but some of my smoke was getting out and I didn't want my smoke to get out. So I just went to Academy. I bought this little Oklahoma Joe gasket, and it works beautifully, man. It like keeps my smoke all in there now. So that was one fix I had to do. And if you get this model, you may have to do the same thing. I've heard some guys say that once they start cooking on it and they get a grease build up here on the edges, that helps lock their smoke in. Hey, if you want to try that method, go for it. I didn't really want to do that. I wanted to just go ahead and buy me a gasket and keep my smoke in there. So let's go ahead and shut this up, and I'll show you a little bit more of the outside and what I do like about this grill. I do like this shelf. Zoom out for you guys there, but this shelf's pretty awesome. You can pull it up and it'll fold down. I'll show you guys how it looks folded down here in a little bit. But they give you this nice little side shelf here. Side shelf's pretty handy if you don't have a table or something next to where you're cooking. Comes in pretty handy. I love that little side table. This is your smokestack here, pretty standard for grills like this. This is the back side of it. And I'll tell you, when I bought mine, I have a little dent right here on one of my legs. That was in the box. Unfortunately, when I bought the box from Lowe's, it just had a little dent. It wasn't nothing major, man. I didn't make a big old stink about it. It's really not that big of a deal. It doesn't alter the functionality of this grill at all. So I just decided, you know, it's not a big deal, not worth the hassle of me boxing it up, taking it all back to Lowe's and trying to swap it out. It just wasn't worth the pain in the butt. It wasn't worth the headaches of doing that, so I didn't do that. And then this down here, this is your shelf underneath. This thing's awesome. You can put all kinds of stuff. I even store stuff from my Kamado down here, because I store my Kamado Joe and this one, they sit pretty much right next to each other. And like, this is my pot that I use for my Kamado Joe coals. I mean, I just store stuff down here. If I need like different utensils and stuff, I'll put them down there. It's a pretty handy little shelf to have. I mean, like I said, especially if you don't have the money to have a nice Gucci table next to this, you know, it's a neat little table to have, or a little shelf to have to just store some stuff, you know. And here's more of the back side. All right, let's move over here. This is your plug that comes off your hopper. It's pretty cool. I mean, they got a little bracket here that you can wrap your cord up if you're mowing grass or something. Your grill sits outside, you know, like mine. I accidentally ran over my plug with my mower, and if I had it put the way I needed to, that wouldn't have happened. I mean, you can see I took a chunk out of it, but it didn't mess up the functionality. But make sure if you're using this thing outside, don't let that cord drape under there. You know, you get over there with your mower and you'll screw it up, and it'll be your fault. It was my fault. So this little hole back here is a little device where you can empty out your pellets. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, but you basically use this little knob here. You unscrew it and you pull it up, and it'll release all your pellets out of the hopper and into a bucket. So if you want to swap out pellets, or you want to do something, you know, different, or you want to mix and match pellets, you can empty some out and put some down and then put more on top of those, or however you want to do it. But mainly that's just to empty all your pellets out and to swap. That's why guys do it. Usually when I put pellets in there, I don't mess with that. But this is the model I have right here. You can see it check marked there. It's the PB1100 PS1. That's the model I have. So if you're starting to look, you can go ahead and Google that and check out the specs on there. But I'll try to give you guys some specs too as we go through this thing. This is just a little handle that you can pull, you know, if you need to move your grill or whatever. You want to be careful with this because this is the hopper. You don't want to yank on it too much because that's connected to your drum, to your grill right here. And if you start yanking on it too much, you might knock something loose, and you could mess something up as to where the smoke goes into the main chamber of the grill. I try not to really pull on this thing too much if I don't have to. I don't want to mess it up. So, you know, just keep that in mind, that your pellets feed through an auger that feeds into here. Basically feeds through in here. Your pellets just kind of go through this auger that turns, feeds the pellets into there, into a firebox that's kind of like a round pod looking thing, and that's where your flame comes in. That's how this thing works. But it's all fed from here into the grill. And I'll talk to you guys about the fire pot when we get in there. This is your controller. Again, this is the hopper box. This is your controller. This is where all your electronics happen. This is where you can cook. And this is like an outdoor oven. I mean, you'll hear a lot of guys say, you know, that it mimics an outdoor oven. It does. It really is like an outdoor oven. It is an electric smoker, if you ask me. It's same as like if you had just one of those stand-up electric smokers that you can get at Sam's Club or Walmart. It's an outdoor oven. I mean, but to me, it just adds so much more smoke, obviously. The smoke element is just so good on this stuff, and it's so easy, and it gives you a good smoke ring. I mean, this thing, for being a pellet smoker, really does give you a good smoke ring. Let's open up this. This is the hopper box. And this is where your pellets are. This is where your pellets go. You can fit about 15 pounds of pellets in this thing pretty comfortably. But right now, I have some Pit Boss pellets in there. I think this was the competition blend. And be quite honest with you, the Pit Boss pellets are pretty good, but to me, they leave a lot of ash. And a lot of guys, if you look up online, it leaves a lot of ash in my grill. That to me didn't give my meat as good of a flavor as some of the other pellets that you can get on the market. So I tried the competition blend. You can get like a 40-pound bag at Lowe's for like $15, I think. So if you're on a budget and you need some pellets, that's a great way to go. To me, it didn't leave as good a flavor as some of the other ones I've used. And I've used some from Academy and stuff like that, and they seem to leave a better flavor in my opinion. This is the dome thermometer. It's decent. Like most dome thermometers, they're not always all that accurate. This one's within, 10, 15 degrees of my controller down here, because this is where I'll set my temp. And down here, it'll sometimes say it's on such degree, but this one will be 10 or 15 off. So it's kind of like if you're using a traditional smoker and you have a thermometer in your meat, but your dome on that one's reading differently than your probed meat. I mean, or, you have one sitting in the grill and it's reading differently than your dome. I mean, it's just, there's always a fluctuation with these dome thermometers, so keep that in mind. It's not the best, it's not the most accurate, but it's within about 10 or 15 degrees, which is really not that bad. So as long as you're within a decent range and you're not 50, 60 degrees off, 10, 15 is pretty darn good. All right, guys, well, that's pretty much the outside. You also get these wheels right here. These are pretty good. I mean, they roll over pretty good. Not a big fan of these wheels over here. These are your locking wheels. They're not horrible. They're just kind of small, but they're not horrible. But these wheels are pretty awesome. And then that is your drip bucket for all your grease. Your grease comes out of that chute right there. If you guys can see, it comes out of your chute and just drains all your grease. Another thing I want to show you guys real quick before I pull this thing apart is you can sear on this thing. And I don't know if you guys can see that rod down there. It's like a rod right there. But you can basically slide this thing. You can see right there, I just slid it open. See, I can close it, or I can slide it open. You see those vents open? Well, the flame will come up through there, and say you want to sear a steak. You could sear a steak and the flame comes up through there and it'll sear a steak. And I'll be honest with you, I've never done a steak on this because I always do steaks on charcoal. I just love the charcoal taste. My Kamado Joe does great steaks, and I have videos coming out on that too on the Joe. But I've just never done steaks on this. I mean, if you have, if you're a Pit Boss owner, if you've done it, shoot me some comments, man. Let me know how it came out if you've done that. I haven't done it on this grill yet, so I can't really comment, say one way or the other. So, all right, now that I've shown you guys that, we're going to go ahead and break all these parts out, and we will talk about each and every part, and I'll come back to you guys in just a second. All right, y'all. So I got all the pieces laid out here on the concrete by my house here. I want to show you before I go into all these pieces. I forgot to mention something to you guys over here. Sorry if I'm making you dizzy on the camera. You get these probes with this Pit Boss. This is another reason I really loved this one. A lot of the other models, the smaller models, you don't get you get one probe usually, but on this one you get two. And I really liked this because I could put one in my grill and one on my meat, and it would help. It helped me to kind of monitor and everything. Or if I had two pieces of meat that I wanted to monitor, yada yada yada. You know what I mean? I could either put it in both pieces of meat and monitor. I don't have it on right now, and I'll have to show you guys maybe a future video. I'm not going to do that today, but when this is on, it actually shows you when you're plugged in what the temp on your probe is. It'll say, if you put it in your meat, it'll tell you your meat's at 85 degrees or whatever. If you've barbecued at all, you know what I'm talking about. But it'll give you the actual reading of your meat, and it's pretty accurate. I've used a stick thermometer to double check just to see how close it was, and they're pretty right on the same. So It's pretty accurate from what I've seen. But this is a really cool addition. I mean, obviously, if you want to get a cheaper model and go buy yourself, you know, you get the one probe. I think they give you one probe with the older models. And you want to just buy an extra one and do it that way, you can do it that way too. It's really not a big deal. But I really like the fact that I had two probes. I need to grab this and take this over with the rest of our stuff over here. So guys, these are the parts. Go ahead and set that there. And let's start over here. This is the first piece that we would put in. And this goes over the fire pot. This is like your drip pan, I guess. I'm really not sure what the proper name is for it. I'd have to look on the website, I forgot. But this goes over your fire pot, and this is like basically your drip pan for all your grease and stuff. It drips on top of this. If any grease drips through, like your grate right here. But let me show you how this guy fits in there. Trying to do this one-handed with a camera today. So anyways, that's your fire pot that I was telling you about. And there's a lot of ash in there. I need to clean that out. And I've cleaned the inside of this thing out a little bit, but one thing you're gonna wanna keep in mind is you gotta keep this thing clean. I've had this thing catch on fire before. Nobody's fault but mine. You have to keep the grease cleaned out of this. You've got to clean it a lot. This needs a lot of attention. If you're looking for a cooker that you don't have to clean very much, this is not the cooker. Because this thing gets a lot of grease in it, a lot of grease buildup, and it will catch on fire. And I've learned that the hard way. So if you're not willing to clean this thing religiously, after every, I think Pit Boss recommends after every 2 to 3 cooks to clean this thing out, to vacuum all your ash out of your pot. See how much ash I have in there? Not good. That'll start a fire too. Or it won't allow your fire to continue to go. So I've had both happen where it wouldn't stay lit, and then I've had it where I had a little mini fire down in this little pot getting out of control. So you want to just make sure your ash is all vacuumed out, and it can start a fire back up in your auger. I don't know if you guys can see, that's the auger where those pellets are sitting right there on the edge. And with too much ash, it'll actually cause a fire to go back up in your auger, back up in this piece, and this can catch your whole entire grill on fire. You do not want that. So if you get this grill, you're going to want to keep it clean. You're going to have to keep this thing clean. But anyways, this piece sits in here like so. Sits right on those nubs. You know, so that's how your drip pan would sit in there. And like, yeah, I got a little ash on here too. But this thing is not like spick and span. You don't need to have it spick and span, but you need to keep it wiped down and the excess grease out of it. If you talk to anybody that's got a pellet grill, they'll tell you, man, just keep it clean. You got to keep it clean. It'll perform for you. It's not the pellet grill's fault. It will perform for you, but you have to take care of your stuff. If you're a person that takes care of your stuff, this isn't going to be an issue, because you're going to take pride in your stuff, and you're not going to let it get bad, and you're not going to let it catch on fire. But it will. I'm telling you, I've had a grease fire in here, and I learned the hard way. And I was already cleaning it, but I wasn't cleaning it quite as much as I should have been. I think I was cleaning it every 5-6 cooks when I should have been doing it like every 3 cooks. So just something to keep in mind on this pellet grill. But this would go down first. This is like your pan to catch everything. And then let's go back over here. This piece here is what we were looking at inside the grill a while ago. And this is like your sear function here. This goes right over the top of the fire pot, and you have the ability to sear. And this was the piece. This little piece right here is what goes on top of that. And that little rod that you guys saw me sliding back and forth earlier, that's what controls this for the sear function. If you're searing, your little rod is going to attach here, and you'll have it where you push it to there. And see these grates, how they're open? Then your flame's going to come up through and sear your meat. That's how you use the sear function. I never use this function. I know a lot of guys don't use this function. They don't think it's very useful on a pellet grill. Some guys do, some guys don't. I don't. But usually I keep this thing closed just like that. I would push it with my rod over here on the side of my grill, which is on this side, and I'll show you guys when I get it back in there. I would just keep it in this position. Now, I have wrapped this in foil before. Some guys wrap these in foil. I don't do that anymore. I did when I first got it. Big reason I don't do it anymore, I caught my grill on fire. The foil caught on fire. I had a huge fire in there. I mean, maybe you guys have had luck with it. Maybe you've had better luck than I have had. I've done it twice. I've done set my grill on fire like 2 times with foil on there. No major fires, but you know, just a little bit of a fire in there. And I just decided, you know what, screw it. I'll just clean it regularly. So that's what I do. I clean the grease. The grease gets down in here a lot, because a lot of times, well, this is your channel for grease. So your grease will fall down in here when you're cooking on your grates. Grates sit up here, and your meat it'll drip through. It'll hit here, and the idea is that the grease runs down this channel, and then it runs down that channel and into another little trough in the grill, and it rolls into that bucket I showed you guys earlier. And I'll show you once I get it back in a little bit better what I'm talking about. I know it's kind of hard to see it here, but I just wanted to talk to you guys about that. Then we'll move on to the grates. These are the grates we were talking about that were in the grill. These are ceramic coated. Don't love them, don't hate them. One of the things about it is you don't get those great grill marks like you get on some of the other grates. I don't hate them. You know, I don't hate them. I just feel like they could have came out maybe with a better design. You know, these are some pretty big holes in the grates. I'm not real crazy about that. But they're not horrible grates or anything. And I don't have anything horribly negative to say about them. I've heard other guys say they just don't last as long. They've had the pit boss for a while. They're not very durable, but I'll see. I'm at a year and they still look fine. They're hard to clean. That's the biggest thing. You get gunk and all stuff in these big holes, and they're just hard to clean and scrape and get it out, because you literally have to go to each little hole and scrape and get the gunk out. And it can be a real pain in the butt, man. When you're trying to clean this thing out, they just can be a real pain. But overall, they're not bad. Just when it comes to the cleaning, in my opinion, is, you know, when it gets really crappy. And then this was the grate we talked about up top. I don't know if you guys can see that real good. Let's move it over here. That's the grate that goes on top, and I love that grate. It's great, like I said, for putting stuff up top. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this one back in there. It's kind of hard with me doing the camera one-handed to get that big bad boy in there. You know, the sear grate there, and we'll get that back in there. And then again, I don't know if that's the proper name for that thing. Honestly, I'm not real sure if that's what the name of that is. So but if you look up the model I showed you earlier, it'll show you a layout of all the parts. That's basically where you, like I was telling you guys earlier, that grease drips down, and that's so your grease doesn't drip into your fire pot. So it's basically a cover, but it catches all your grease and funnels it out for you. And then that top grate on top of there is your sear function, like we were just talking about. So again, not sure on the real proper name of it. Just look that freaking part number I gave y'all up, model number, and you can find out all the proper names for all this stuff if you're really serious about researching on these grills. So we're gonna put that back in. It's a little hard to put in one-handed, like I said. So I'm gonna get that put in back in one-handed, or not one-handed, but get it put back in, and then I'll come back to you guys and we'll talk some more about the setup of the grill. All right, guys. So now you see I've got this thing in here. I went ahead and put the top in there too, because it's a little tricky, but this is that pan we're talking about where I was telling you guys that you've got that little channel right here. So your meat sits up here, it drips, it runs down, and it runs down this channel, and it runs into that little trough right there. You guys can see that little trough. There's a trough right here, and it runs down that trough, and then there's a hole. Let's see if I can get you guys down in there. See that hole? That's where it all drains out, and that's how your grease gets out of here. Like I said, some guys put foil on here, and I've seen guys not have any issues with it. I've had issues with it. Maybe I'm just a dummy. Maybe I'm not doing it right. You know, but I've had issues, so I said to myself, you know what? I'm just gonna clean it out regularly and get my grease out of there. So that's what I do. Anyways, let's go ahead and put these. I'm sure to put these grates in there. go. It's one. And these things have some weight to them. I mean, they're not bad grates by any means. I know earlier in the video I kind of made it sound like they were horrible. They're not bad. Like I said, when it comes to cleaning, it just stinks when you're trying to clean with them. And so there you go. I mean, they're in. And I wanted you guys, I don't know if you guys can notice, but this thing has the pan. Let's take this back out real fast. That pan has a tilt to it. It kind of tilts. This thing tilts down kind of this way, so that grease will just run right down that channel. I wanted to make sure I showed you guys because you can't really tell now that I put these grates back in, but it does. It tilts all the way down this way, and that's how you get that grease to run out on you. Well, anyways, this thing has, they boast it that it has 1,100 square feet of cooking with the top rack in here, which is plenty. I mean, I can put 2 butts and a brisket if I wanted, but I've never done that. But I have had a brisket on this side and I have had a butt here. But you could put a small butt up here if you needed to, or if you wanted to do some chicken at the same time you're doing a couple butts down here, you got the room, man. And that's the main reason I went this size. With the 1,100, I figured, you know, it would give me more room. So, and I never really had to would have to worry about, oh, I wish I had went bigger. Oh, I need to go get another one now because I need to go bigger or something. Just keep that in mind. And this is a good little unit. Since we've been doing this, my gasket fell down here, so I'm gonna have to replace that section of my gasket. This little tray here, and as you can see, it folds up and it folds down. So you can cover it, no problem. All right, guys. Well, that's pretty much all the parts and the gist of the actual unit itself. I'm gonna come back to you guys in just a minute. We're gonna sit down and I'm gonna give you guys my final thoughts on the whole thing, how I feel about it, if I would purchase it again, and what I would rate it, you know, as far as a pellet smoker goes. It's gonna be hard because this is my only and first pellet smoker, so I don't really have anything to compare it to. But I'll just give you guys my thoughts on it and everything, and then hopefully that'll help you make a more informed decision on whether you want to go with a Pit Boss or you want to go with something else. So, all right, guys, I'll be back in a minute. All right, guys, final thoughts on this thing. But before we go into our final thoughts, I wanted to share some specs with you guys. And sorry I didn't have this when I was doing the video. I should have probably been more prepared while I was going through it with you guys. But I'm gonna give you the specs, the important specs I thought were important, anyways. This is the Pro Series. It's the Pro Series 1100 is what I just showed you. It has 1,100 square inches of total cook space. So you have 300 on that top rack I showed you, and there's 800 on the bottom, or the ceramic, with the ceramic grill grates. That's a pretty good amount of cooking space. I mean, like I told you, you could put several butts on there. You could put a couple probably 2 butts and a brisket, a smaller brisket. You could probably put a butt on that top and then a butt on the bottom and then another brisket. Just depends. I mean, I've tried a butt and a brisket at the same time and they both came out amazing, like really good. So that's the one beautiful thing about it. This thing is 183 pounds. So it's not like horribly heavy, but once you get it assembled, it's 183 pounds. I suggest you have somebody help you. When I put mine together, my wife helped me. So me and her were able to do it fairly easily, and it wasn't too bad. But you'll definitely want to try to have somebody help you, because if you don't, you can bend the legs. If you try to do it by yourself, I try to do a lot of things by myself, and I get yelled at a lot by my wife because I don't like to depend on other people. But this thing, this is something you're investing in. You definitely want to have another person help you if you can have somebody there to help you. The firebox width is 40 inches, and the firebox depth is 20 inches. Those are some of the major points I'm looking at right now. Oh, and there's a 5-year limited warranty. Make sure, and if you're watching any of my other videos with my Kamado, register your product, because there is a limited. You'll want to look into what your limited stuff is on it. Obviously, if it's negligence, they're not going to warranty those items. Certain things they will. I know if paint starts peeling, they'll send you some kind of paint to paint, and I have some paint peeled on mine I need to call them about. But overall, in a year, I haven't had anything major. Nothing major has happened. Knock on wood. I hope nothing does happen. and I hope I get many more years out of this thing. But my final thoughts on this thing are, would I buy it again? Yes, I would buy it again. It's a great grill. It's a wonderful pellet smoker. For the money, I paid under $500 for it. Who is this grill good for? People who are not gonna want to sit around a grill and man it 24 hours. I don't mean 24 hours, but you're not somebody who is not gonna want to sit there and babysit it. Stick burners, you gotta babysit. Ceramics, you don't have to babysit suits so much, but you still have to babysit them to an extent. This thing is pretty much a set it, forget it, come back out and check it every so often, kind of like your oven. You know, you can set it, you can mow grass, you can go to the store if you had to. Don't suggest you leave it running while you're not home, but you know, it's kind of one of those things. And make sure it's cleaned, because if it catches on fire, you got some serious problems. But if you keep it cleaned and you keep it, you know, the maintenance on it up and it's clean, you won't have any issues with this grill. You know, you shouldn't. Of course, some people are. There's just lemons out there. When you buy one, you're going to get a lemon every now and then. But mine has been pretty good. It's been pretty decent as long as I clean it. If I don't clean it, then I got problems. But I would definitely buy it again. Whenever I don't want to babysit my meat, that's the one I use. I have my ceramic, but when I don't want to babysit my Kamado and I don't want to pour the charcoal and clean my Kamado all out and my pellets ready to go, I just dump my pellets in there and I go. And it's up and running within minutes. You know, my Kamado takes me 20, 30, 45 minutes sometimes. But this thing, it's like I pretty much turn it on, give it about 5-10 minutes, get your pellets in there, and boom, you're ready to cook, man. And like I said, if I want quick burgers, quick dogs, quick stuff that we don't want to wait on, to me, it's so much better than gas. It tastes better. The pellet taste is so much better. And it's kind of like a gas feature, because gas, you know, you can turn it on and go. Well, kind of same thing with the pellet. Like, you can go, but you get a much better flavor than what you're going to get with gas. And gas is a cuss word in my house now. We don't even use gas because we just can't stand it. We can't stand the taste of it. And we have a gas fire pit, and that's about it. But I would totally buy this again. I would give this, if I had out of 10 pit boss, I give it an 8 out of 10, man. I mean, it's a solid grill for you on a budget, and it cooks some good meat. It puts good smoke rings into meat. People are like, well, what kind of smoke ring does it put? It's not going to put a kind of smoke ring like you're going to get on a stick burner, from what I've been told and what videos that I've seen. But it puts a smoke ring on there. It gives it a great flavor. My favorite pellets are not the Pit Boss pellets. I'm about to try some flavored Pit Boss ones. I've tried the competition, like I told you guys earlier. I'm going to try the flavored ones. And I haven't tried those yet. I have some apple, and I think I have a bag of hickory. I haven't tried either one of the flavored. The competition blend puts off a lot of ash. I'm not real crazy about it. Cheap, 40 pounds for like 15 bucks. If that's what you're looking for, go to Lowe's. Lowe's has it. And you get 40 pounds for like 15 bucks. You still get the smoke flavor, but in my opinion, it's not as good. The best pellets I have used so far are from Academy, and they're the B&B pellets. The mesquite ones are great. I've had hickory from there. They're great. Cherry's good. So I would go to Academy and get them again. But right now, I had never tried the flavored Pit Boss ones, so I'm going to give those a shot. And I just bought a big bag, a 40-pound bag from Sam's that's got a mixture of hickory, cherry, and apple in it. And I'm going to give those a shot. You know, play around with it. Try some different ones out. See what you like. But I'm not a big fan of the Pit Boss competition blend so far. It just hasn't been a really good pellet to me. Not a horrid, not that it's not usable. You can use it. It's just, I didn't feel like it gave the food a great flavor. Guys, I really enjoyed giving you guys this review. I give this Pit Boss 2 thumbs up. I would recommend it to anybody who's in the market for especially their first pellet grill. I have nothing to compare it to. I haven't had any of the others. The Camp Chefs look nice. The Gorilla Grills look nice. There's a guy that his name on YouTube is Just Piddling, and if you want to look at his stuff, he's got a lot of Gorilla Grill stuff. He talks really good about the Gorilla Grills. But even he will tell you in his videos, it don't really matter what kind of pellet grill you get if you take care of it. If you don't take care of it, then it's not going to matter what kind of pellet grill you get. You could get the best pellet grill on the market, and it's not going to be good. You know, and people are going to complain, it doesn't do this, it doesn't do that. You got to understand your grill. It is what it is. Don't get frustrated with it. The pellet grill, some guys are like, it just doesn't hold temps. It's way up here. It's too low. One thing I found out with these pellet grills is when you get them going, give them some time. And that's one thing I liked about this just piddling guy. He'll tell you, grab a drink, walk around your yard, hang out. If you're going to grill, try not to be in a hurry with it. Yeah, the pellet grill's more convenient and you don't have to babysit it as much, but don't worry so much about your temps. Your temps are going to stabilize. They may not start out where you want. They may start way higher than you want, and they may start way lower than you want. Give it some time. Like it'll self-adjust and it'll work itself out. These machines are smart and they will eventually work themselves out. Don't just think, oh, well, I got to crank it up because it's not where I need it. Let it kind of stabilize. Give it 10-15 minutes to stabilize out, and it'll get there, because it's weather temperament too. Like if you live in the South, I live in the South, and it'll get real high sometimes. I'm like, crap, it's way high, but I'll grab me a drink, I'll sit down, and that thing will come down. So it always stabilizes out for me, and it cooks amazing food. Compared to my Kamado, this isn't a comparison video, but they both do really good meat. Both of them do great. You know, I have my reasons for why I love my Kamado, and I have my reasons why I like my pit boss, and they're just two different machines. But other than that, man, I could rant on this all day about this thing. I hope you guys really enjoyed this, man. I enjoy doing these things, and I love grilling. I'm just now I've been into it a year heavy, and that's why I started this YouTube channel, is because I just want to kind of show you guys what I've been doing. I'm a normal dad. I'm a normal husband. I have a family, and I just like to cook for them. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I don't receive anything from anybody. I review these products because I believe in these products, and they've worked for me. So if they've worked for me, I know they could work for somebody else who's on a budget and looking for something to do some really good backyard barbecue or some backyard smoking. So I hope you guys really enjoy this. Again, man, I thank y'all for joining my channel. Please hit that subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video. And just hope to see you guys again soon. And the notification, if you want to be notified of new videos, I've got videos coming out all the time. So far, we've been on YouTube, I think, for 2 months, not even 2 months, about just at a month now. I've got 8 videos out already. So if you guys are interested in videos, I'm going to be pumping them out. I'm really doing all kind of cooks on these things. I plan on bringing more to the Pit Boss. Right now I have a lot more for my Kamado Joe, but I plan on bringing a lot more videos to you guys for the Pit Boss. I'm planning on doing some really cool things and some fun things for you guys to see. So if you guys are interested in new content, new recipes, new things that I'm coming out with, and then please subscribe. You'll see a lot of new stuff. And if you got questions, leave them in the comment box, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Till then, guys, this is T-Way Eats Barbecue Treats. We'll see y'all next time.